I was watching Billy roping broncs in the round corral one afternoon when Hoodlum made a run at him, biting and striking with his front feet, chock full of hate and harboring murder in his heart. Billy just stepped aside, dabbed a loop over those slashing front feet, and dumped Hoodlum on his ear. Before the bronc could get up again, Billy tied all 4 of his feet together in a bunch. Then he walked off and left the old renegade to ponder his wicked ways. There was a good spring in a little patch of cattails just below the main house, and Billy and me went up there and had us a drink of cold water. Billy rolled himself a smoke, and we sat in the shade and talked for a while. When we'd been there maybe 30 minutes, Billy stood up and squinted at the sun. "Time to get back to work," he said, and we headed back down to the horse corral. After he'd picked up his saddle and hackamore, Billy went inside the corral and untied Hoodlum. Before the bronc could decide what to do next, Billy slipped the hackamore and saddle on him. Then Billy swung up onto the horse's back in one smooth motion. That's when old Hoodlum came unglued. He blowed up like a black powder bomb, squealing and bellowing and popping his backbone, while Billy matched the horse move for move and made it look easy. The big horse twisted and pitched, spun and dodged. He jumped straight up and came down like a dropped boulder. He swapped ends, spun like a whirligig, and throwed his belly at the sky. And when he'd finally played all the cards in his deck, he stood still, dripping wet and quivering, his sides heaving, and his breath coming in racking gasps. Billy kicked him into a run and took the horse clockwise around the corral. He reversed him and rode him back the other way. He drew rein and stepped down. Then he stood close beside the panting animal and stroked its neck, speaking low. "There's no call for you to fight me, big horse," he said. "I'll treat you as well as you'll allow. Nothing to fear. All is well." Then Billy stripped off the saddle and hackamore, opened the corral gate, and turned Hoodlum out with the rest of the string. That's when I noticed Julie. As she had that time with me, Julie McAllister had quietly approached the corral to watch the action. She had climbed to the top rail and sat there, one gloved hand on the upright and the other on the rail beside her. Her pearl-gray Stetson shaded her face and caused her dark eyes to seem darker still. Beneath a tight-fitting vest of black wool, Julie wore a white shirt with bloused sleeves. A red silk scarf was loosely knotted at her throat, and handmade boots with silver spurs showed below the fringe of her riding skirt. She was altogether as pretty as a sunrise. It took me a second or two, but I finally remembered my manners and snatched my hat off. I was about to tell her I was glad to see her when I saw she wasn't looking at me. She sat perfectly still on that top rail, her lips slightly parted, and her dark eyes fixed on Billy.